ladies and gentlemen? I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, we're going to be wrapping up some of the final things that is going on with Daniel Penny and with the whole Jordan Neely type of situation. Now, we have this to where a medical examiner lied about the whole situation of what happened to Daniel Penny and the length of it, and we'll be going over that as well. Now, I will at the end of the video, I'll kind of explain what's going on and what's the case with Daniel Penny. As of right now, we don't have any information. I'll keep up to date with it, but I'm not actually hoping too good here because things are not looking too great with Daniel Penny, and we'll see how it goes. But as of right now, there's a lot of biases and corruption in the media, and I think some things have to be addressed here. Now, what we have is pretty much saying that not the medical examiner, but the interrogation right after, Jordan Neely was labeled as, still alive. He's got a pulse and everything. He was still good, and he was voluntarily went to the interrogation room to show exactly what was going on. So, without further ado, here's that.
The trial that touches the third rail of mental illness in the subway, and today jurors heard Daniel Penny in his own words, watching video as he demonstrated on a detective the chokehold that killed Jordan Neely.
And I kind of came like this.
Okay. Did you apply pressure, Daniel?
No, I wasn't. I just wanted to keep him from getting to people. Some guy came in, he's like, whipped his jacket off, and he's like, I'm gonna kill everybody. I can go to prison forever. I don't care. I don't do this. At that point, I looked to the person next to me like, hey, just hang on to this.
So, what is going on here? He's showing the actual police officer on what the actual hold was to prevent Jordan Neely from going out and attacking other people. And essentially, he was just showing, even the officer said, did you put pressure, Daniel? And he said no. All he wanted to do was not to kill Jordan Neely, but to restrain him so that way he doesn't go and hurt other people. That was his whole point here. But of course, you're going to have the media be biased, and the medical examiner lie on the stand about this, of what actually happened here, and that is the most disgusting thing about all this.
A sleeper hold to me, like
right,
something similar. Like
I'm not trying to kill the guy.
Right.
I'm just trying to de-escalate the situation.
The medical examiner ruled Neely, who was unarmed and had a history of mental illness, died from compression to the neck.
Yes, as he said, he was just trying to restrain him to not try to kill him and stuff like that, right? Well, we're going to be going over a few things as well here because I think some of these things have to be explained because it just shows on the complete insanity here on how many issues they had. Now, with Daniel Penny, with this situation, we have this to where the family comes out and pretty much says, don't murder, don't kill, don't do this. But the problem with this is that the guy had 42 arrests here. Look, you said the NYT busted Neely 42 times across the last decade and had a documented mental health history with police, with its most recent arrest in November 2021 for slugging a 67-year-old female stranger in the face. And then it goes on to say a warrant for his arrest on felony assault charges was issued on February 23rd. So this guy is not an innocent person. He slugged somebody else slugged a female stranger in the face, and that was the cause. And this is what the family has to say about this, or their attorney on the matter, even though they're finally showing up for the big bucks, so they get rewarded for this stuff, because they didn't care about Jordan Neely beforehand.
Ask Jordan, what's wrong? How can I help you? He was choked to death instead. So for everybody saying, I've been on the train and I've been afraid before, and I can't tell you what I would have done in that situation, I'm going to tell you. Ask how you can help. Please, don't attack, don't choke, don't kill, don't take someone's life, don't take someone's loved one from them because they're in a bad place. No one on that train said, you started out by saying, I'm hungry, I need food, I'm done with it, I don't know where to get food, I don't care if I die, I don't care if I go to jail, I'm just done. No one said, here you are, sir, let me meet your need or help you in a situation or give a word of encouragement. That's not what happened on that train.
Problem that I have with the far left here is they always try to tag people with their emotional strings, and that's how they try to get support. Because they're using the emotional card to try to get people to feel sympathy for somebody that had prior 42 arrests and slugged a 67-year-old woman in the face. So I don't have very much sympathy for this person. Not only that, when people are saying they're terrified, there's usually a reason why. If you are yelling at somebody, and they're yelling at somebody for no actual cause or reason, and there isn't like a mutual confrontation or reason why they are yelling at you, normally when you are fighting with somebody or angry at somebody, you're both yelling at each other, and the fear is not really there because the fear is the same until somebody gets attacked. The thing is, this man started yelling randomly for no explained reason for two people, and they felt fear for this. And the actual people that were there, the women that were there, actually felt fear. And you're asking people that are actually terrified of this person to say, hey, do you need help? What is it that you need? And try to de-escalate, which is what Jordan Neely tried to do, or Daniel Penny tried to do. You're asking somebody to say something, to do something that is completely out of the realm of psyche, to try to try to stay away from this person so they don't get hurt themselves.
On cross-examination of the prosecution's witnesses, the defense played police-sworn body camera video of their statements to responding officers about what happened when 30-year-old Jordan Neely entered an F train on May 1st, 2023.
He's scared to live the daylights out there.
That witness told the jury she's been riding the subway for over 50 years and has been threatened before, but this was the first time she said she was actually scared. She described Neely as resisting when Marine veteran Daniel Penny put Neely in a chokehold to restrain him.
Not a hard chokehold, just enough to secure him, and the guy thought.
She testified she left to go to the conductor and then also pressed an intercom button in the station to see when police might arrive because it had been a while. She also said she went over to thank Penny after.
So this woman here that has experienced this before, has been threatened before, and this is the first time that this woman actually felt fear for her life, and she even defended Penny and thanked Penny after this whole situation because it was so terrifying for her. And you have this Jordan Neely attorney, the family being atrocious, and only wanted that money because they know that their whole the racism tension is high in this country right now, is that they're going to look for the big bucks to try to get score off because that's what their whole purpose was. When in reality, the woman was terrified, everybody else was terrified, actually testified, the witness said this, along with the other ladies that were there, and you were just going to ignore this. This is the whole point of this. So we make this perfectly bloody clear. They defended Penny, thanked Penny, and said that Jordan Neely was completely out of control and they were in fear of their lives. So this is completely different on what you're saying here. You're trying to have people, the Jordan Neely Foundation people are trying to say, oh, even though that this person's threatening you, how about you just try to feel empathy and put yourself in harm's way and try to help him? That's not a normal reaction. When people are in these type of situations, people will try to avoid these other dangerous people so they don't get hurt themselves, so they can make it to the next day, that they can go see their family. You're asking somebody to do something that is completely out of the ordinary, where Daniel Penny took up the mantle and did it. Not everybody's Daniel Penny. Not everybody's going to go be asking for help because nobody wants to put themselves in harm's way for somebody else. They're asking for the insanity part here.
Prosecutors say Penny wasn't wrong to place him in the hold, but that he continued it for far too long. And jurors heard from the Marine who trained him. In training, the prosecutor asked, how long are you allowed to hold it? Answer, no more than 5 seconds. Question, if done correctly, how long before you render someone unconscious? Answer, at least 13 seconds. Question, how do you make a blood choke, a non-lethal maneuver, into a lethal maneuver? Answer, well, you would hold it too long.
Now, notice how they're trying to put this as like, oh, well, Daniel Penny was holding it for way too long. But these are in training scenarios. In most other scenarios, in this case, you're going to be holding it for an extra period longer because it's not a training scenario. Because the training scenario is like you look to see it, to see if you're doing it correctly, and they're saying, okay, let go. But in an actual other scenario, you're going to be holding this longer to make sure they're restrained. It's just, like, they're trying to put in a training scenario into a real life scenario, and they don't add up. Not only that, if the guy was still alive and still moving and still breathing long after the 13 seconds, that shows that the man was not actually in a chokehold, but in a restraint to where he's not able to do anything. Because if people are unconscious within 13 seconds, then that means that, well, they're unconscious after 13 seconds. The guy was still moving long after 13 seconds, and he was still awake for long after 13 seconds. So the time does not match up to what they're trying to perpetrate what Daniel Penny is doing here.
More than 30 witnesses to the stand. The last to testify is the doctor who performed the autopsy on Jordan Neely. We just got an update moments ago. Court is finished for the day, but the defense has not finished their cross-exam, so the medical examiner will return Monday for questioning. Today, jurors were shown photos from the autopsy, in particular of Jordan Neely's neck and eyes. Dr. Cynthia Harris ruled Jordan Neely's cause of death compression of the neck or asphyxia. Prosecutors say Daniel Penny had Neely in a chokehold for nearly 6 minutes.
Now we reach the corrupt person of this all. The liar in waiting. This medical examiner, where she lies and she should be, honestly, she should be put in jail for this a huge amount of lies, because this is insanity. So she goes out and say that, oh, well, this is because of asphyxiation and all that great jazz. So maybe you guys should probably see this entire thing so kind of see what they're going with this insanity here.
Voluntary police station house interview Penny demonstrated.
And I kind of came like this.
Okay. Did you apply pressure, Daniel?
No, I wasn't. I just wanted to keep him from getting to people.
After Penny let go of Neely, several witnesses, including responding officers, testified Neely had a pulse. Dr. Harris says that's not surprising. This is an asphyxial death. The brain dies first. Neely had sickle cell trait. She testified it's normally benign, an asymptomatic condition, but his spleen and red blood cells were sickled. In her medical opinion, she testified, it was caused because he was in a low oxygen situation.
So what the medical examiner is saying here is pretty much the reason why he had it was due to asphyxiation and what have you is because of the sickle cell trait. And I have been told I have the sickle cell trait. I'm not entirely sure. I have been told apparently it's a lot more active, or at least benign, in African Americans. I'm going to take a blood test at some point. I think that has to be checked. Nonetheless, we have this here to where this is what the sickle trait is. Now, it says that the sickle cell trait can activate or cause symptoms under extreme conditions, like severe dehydration, intense physical activity, high altitudes, or exposure to extreme temperatures, where the body needs more oxygen and the abnormal hemoglobin in the blood can start to sickle, potentially here, leading to complications like pain, blood in the urine, or reduced blood flow to certain organs. However, most people with sickle cell trait do not experience any issues in normal situations, and the trait itself cannot develop into full-blown sickle cell disease. So if I do have this, and you what have you, high altitudes, reduced oxygen levels at high elevations, etc. I haven't had any of these experiences or these issues at all when I have this so-called disease, right? So that being said, it wasn't a chokehold, so therefore you can't really say this. And there was also potentially here. The key word is potentially. So this could have happened or could not have happened, and there's no definitive answer of whether this did or did not happen. You have to prove that the sickle cell trait activated, which I don't think that she can in the first place.
A toxicology report revealed Neely had a synthetic cannabinoid, otherwise known as K2, in his system. But she told the jury no one can say how much, because current testing does not quantify it. It only determines if it's present, since synthetic cannabinoids change like fashion trends.
So what we have here is apparently that he has K2 or whatever, cannabis or whatever, or some type of drug in his system. I'm not quite sure which drug it would be. I'm not familiar with drugs. I don't do drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. And because it could be the possible reason why he died. She doesn't even say that she doesn't know how much. So what I'm getting at here is, does she even know that there was a toxicology report? Did she even get that back? Did she make a statement of what the cause of death was without actually knowing on how much was in his bloodstream. So therefore that would change the case entirely, because if he did have a huge amount of K2 or any type of drug in his system, that would probably be the reason why he died in the first place. And another reason why he was doing this outburst or being insane, because he had so much drugs in him that was creating an outburst, scaring other people. I mean, at this point, you're just deleting your own statements here, and it sounds like there's actual political malice involved.
On cross-examination, defense attorneys asked her about higher rates of toxicity and hospitalizations due to K2. She said it was 2 to 100 times more potent to standard natural occurring cannabinoids.
So let me get this straight. So what she's saying that was in his system was 2 to 100 times more potent than the standard natural occurring cannabinoids. So that could be the reason why he's either freaking out or why he potentially passed away. Lady, what are you doing here? That's insane. Alright, the 2 to 100 times? That would possibly be the reason why he died. What's going on here? And here's the big kicker that happens here, right? This is the big kicker that pretty much slammed the case shut and probably won Daniel Penny the actual case.
They also noted after she performed the autopsy, Neely's death certificate originally said cause of death pending further study. Dr. Harris said that was due to a misunderstanding. A police report said Neely had been screaming, so she had questions. After viewing video of an unresponsive Neely, and though waiting for toxicology results, she made her ruling, doubling down, telling the jury that Neely could have had enough fentanyl in his system to knock down an elephant, and that still would not have changed her opinion.
Here's what we have here, right? Is that this woman is corrupt. This woman lies, and she is trying to be on Alvin Bragg's side because that's the only way forward. This has to be for political reasons. Because she literally said that she did the examination, she did her profession, and she couldn't find the actual death for Daniel Penny. So instead of actually doing the correct examination or doing the correct report, it's just going on pending, and she even goes on to say that even if he if he even had enough fentanyl to kill an elephant, it would still not change her opinion on that asphyxiation was the death that Daniel Penny killed Jordan Neely. You cannot make this BS up. You cannot tell me that it is not corruption at the highest order. What do you mean fentanyl couldn't be the reason why he died? It would have been 100% reason why he died. Do you even know how dangerous fentanyl is? You have police officers just take a whiff of fentanyl or even get near it and they almost die. So to tell me that they had over 100 times the fentanyl to kill either an elephant and that that's not the cause of death is insane to me. You cannot tell me that this person is real and to say that this is an actual legitimate case. That's insane. She should be locked up for this type of stuff. You've seen the videos where cops have actually taken a standby, just getting standby fentanyl, or not even ingesting it and almost dying for it. And this is what she has to say? That's insane. That's insane. You cannot believe this BS, man.
Again, court is finished for the day, but they are not done with this witness. She will be questioned again on Monday. The defense will finish, and then the prosecution will rest, and then the defense will get a chance to present its case.
Okay, I think everything is self-explanatory here. We know that Jordan Neely is the criminal. He had 42 prior arrests, even slugged an old elderly woman, 67-year-old woman, in the face, and he died possibly due to a high amount of drugs, potentially actually overdosing, which he could have overdosed already as is, and Daniel Penny restrained him to prevent him from actually committing any harm to himself or to other people. And we have a medical examiner pretty much just saying, oh, well, I'm going to ignore the body, look at the video, and determine my actual examination, including saying, oh, well, even if he has enough fentanyl to kill an elephant, I'm going to still say that it's due to asphyxiation. It's really insane. Now, I'm hoping that New Yorkers are not so freaking stupid that they will put Daniel Penny in jail, because what this will allow this to happen, and what would be the final nail in the coffin would be like, which will pretty much put every single New Yorker to not defend anybody else when something happens. This means that you guys will get killed or hurt or worse because you made the precedent where you think that people defending you is a bad thing and you deserve everything that you get if Daniel Penny gets locked up and you say that he's the murderer in this case. Because at this point, it is up to you guys to really decide on whether or not you want people to protect you or not. And if that happens to where he's put in jail, then you have none of my sympathy. You deserve what you get. And if New Yorkers become more evil or more bad because they don't want to protect you because of the laws, then blame yourselves. Because you only have yourselves to blame for the insanity that you put onto other people for locking somebody up to try to save others. Alright guys, that's it for a video. Like, guys, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.